do art, Elyanna, what do you like to do art of? What's your subject matter?
I like to draw people.
Yeah, do you look at the people when you're drawing them, or do you imagine what they look like?
I just imagine people.
Yeah. What are they usually doing in the drawings?
Usually they're either talking to someone or they're just by themselves.
Hmm. Do you like to do drawings of like individual people, like one person at a time, or do you like to do groups of people?
Sometimes both.
Hmm. Hmm. And when you draw them, do you prefer using pencils or pens or, what's your favorite tools to use when you're doing art?
I usually use a pencil first, and then when I'm done drawing the person, then I use a pen to outline it.
Hmm. And do you like to go on to coloring it as well, or do you like to keep it, just the sort of the drawing, the outlines?
Sometimes, because sometimes I don't have my colored pencils to color them in, but usually I would color them in.
And that's colored pencils are your favorite way to color them?
Yeah.
I really like drawing, especially when I was a kid too, but I could never really color them because I'm super duper colorblind. So all my drawings kind of stopped at the black and white phase. I remember when my parents first thought that I might be colorblind, I had drawn a picture where there was an ocean that was purple and a flaming green sunset above it. And they thought, this looks suspicious. And I have a little brother who's colorblind, and he drew a building on fire, but my dad thought that it was a picture of a building with vines growing out of it because all the fire was green. And he was pretty sad.
That's cool.
What other things do you like to do for fun other than art?
I like to make comic stories and writing stories.
Oh, so when you make a comic story, do you draw the boxes first and then fill them in, or do you kind of draw a drawing and then put a box around it?
Yeah, I usually make the boxes first.
Do you like to read comics, or are you more a comic creator?
I like to read comics a lot.
Yeah. And then when you're doing a writing story, do you write it like handwritten on paper, or do you like to type it on the computer?
Sometimes of both. Like at school when they give us free time, I would usually write on the computer, but when we're at home and we just get to do whatever we want, I write on paper.
What are your favorite kind of stories to write?
Like fantasy or graphic novels.
Do you usually have a character in your story that you feel like is a version of yourself?
Sometimes, but not all the time.
What are some things, Elyanna, that make you feel brave?
I don't know. That's a hard question to answer.
That's okay. You don't even have to answer it. And if you think of an answer later, you can tell me. I'll ask you a different question, okay?
Okay.
If you could design any kind of clothes, what would the clothes look like?
I drew this one dress, and it was like, at first it was all like skin tight, and then right when it reached the waist, it was all poofy and pretty.
What kind of colors did you use on that dress?
Mostly black and yellow and silver.
Oh, that sounds cool. There would be a lot of contrast between black, yellow, and silver. What's your favorite way to help other people?
I like to help them by like telling them what happened to me if they're nervous for something that also happened to me. I'll tell them what not to do because you might like get nervous after that.
That sounds like a really good sympathetic approach. Make them feel more comfortable and make them feel better.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite things about yourself, Elyanna?
I like that I like that I can like read books.
What are your favorite kinds of books to read?
I like to read Raina Telgemeier. She's a graphic novel.
Oh, so what are her stories like?
Sometimes she makes stories about her childhood, and then other stories she makes up.
I see. Are they usually, like the ones that she makes up, are they usually sort of set in a realistic world, or are they kind of fantasy or kind of science fiction-y?
They're like set in a real life place. Like one of her books, she made a person that she just made up, and then she drew, and she let them live in a place that she lived before.
That seems clever. That way she knew some things about the place, and then she could kind of see how her character would interact with it, huh?
Yeah.
So if you were to join the circus, Elyanna, what kind of performer would you be?
Probably one that would walk on the rope between platforms or something.
Does that make you feel, do heights make you nervous at all?
Sometimes.
Yeah. So if you were a tightrope walker, would you be the kind that does it with a pole? You know how sometimes they hold a pole that helps them keep their balance? Or would you do it with no pole?
I don't know. Probably both.
And would you have a net underneath in case you fell? Or would you be so confident that you could just do it with no net?
I would have a net underneath.
Yeah, I would too, for sure. If you could even convince me to try it, I would definitely have a net. So imagine if you were a teacher, what would your classroom be like?
Actually, when I am older, I want to be a teacher.
Oh, so you'd be a great teacher. So what do you think you'd like your classroom to be like when you grow up?
What I'm thinking is something to make the children excited, like Alice in Wonderland theme.
And what kinds of things would you most enjoy teaching the kids?
I would teach them like how to write good stories and like how to use their imagination.
Do you think that you'd like to teach little kids or teenagers? Like what age group do you think you'd like to teach?
Probably like middle schoolers, like my age. 'Cause little kids seem too hard and older kids don't really listen to you.
That is such a good point. You're absolutely right. There's a sweet spot right there in the middle, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some things that make you feel excited or energized?
Sometimes like trying new things, or sometimes when I have a new idea, I get really excited and I just want to go home because like sometimes it's during school. I just want to go home just so I can write it down.
So you do a lot of writing, huh, Elyanna?
Yeah.
That's great. Do you like to try new foods?
Sometimes, like yesterday my mom was trying to make me try plum, and she kept telling, like, and we were making jokes about, like, I was like, what does it taste like? And she was like, what does an apple taste like? And it was really funny. But eventually I tried it, and it tasted like a grape.
Yeah, they're like giant grapes, huh?
Yeah.
Now, if you had, let's say, $1 million to give to any charity you could anywhere in the world, what kind of charity would you want to give that money to?
Probably to animals.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite kinds of animals?
I like cats and wolves.
Like big cats, like lions and tigers?
No, small cats that live in your house.
I got you. You guys have some, right? How many cats do you have right now?
Right now we have 2.
What are their names?
We have Data, which we had.
Oh, yeah. I've met Data.
Yeah, and then we have kitten Skittles. She's my kitten.
Yeah? What color is Skittles?
She's like light gray and dark gray, and her eyes are green.
It's funny that your cat is named Data, because in my office where I'm sitting right now, I have a painting of Data from Star Trek with his pet cat on his lap. So, Elyanna, you play the tenor drum, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I I like it because it's like the easiest drum.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you think you'd like to learn to play some of the other drums someday, or do you want to just dig into tenor drum and be the best tenor drummer ever?
Sometimes, like some days when I see the snare drummers or like the bass drummers doing really cool things, I'm like, ooh, I want to do that sometime. But then other times I'm like, I want to be the best tenor drummer.
Yeah. Do you feel like your favorite part of tenor drumming is the sounds that you make or the flourishes with the sticks? Or maybe it's both, you know, you don't have to pick one, but what do you like most about it?
Mostly the cool sounds.
Yeah.
And the flourishes.
Aside from tenor drum sounds, what are some of your favorite sounds in the world? Some of your favorite things you've ever heard?
I like sounds from rain, like thunder, but I hate being like, something that I hate is going camping and it's like stormy and rainy.
So you like it maybe from a distance or from a safe place?
Yeah.
I see. So Elyanna, if you had some advice for a kid your age who's about to start playing the bagpipes or the tenor drum or the snare drum or the bass drum, let's pretend like they're about to join the pipe band and they're going to start learning. Do you have any advice that you would give to them?
Sometimes when you're practicing, but like you want to do something with your hands, like practicing the tenor drum, sometimes when I want to just do something with my hands during school, I like when you practice your songs, I like to practice my songs with my hands in school, just on my lap.
That's great advice.